Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy. And holy smokes, ladies and gentlemen, I can't be the only one when I'm watching the Kansas City Chiefs play where I feel like my heart just skips at times. I feel like my blood pressure hits at max. And it just is a stressful time watching this Kansas City Chiefs football team take the field, especially against really talented opponents. Like the Indianapolis Colts were a very, very good team, and it was a stressful situation. I mean, we're going to talk about this entire game in its entirety, but the fact that the Colts just felt comfortable coming into Arrowhead and just doing what they did, although they did come out with the loss, it still felt like the Colts were going to run away with this thing. It just shows you that there is deep down in the Kansas City Chiefs kind of cellar, they have to find that juice. They have to find some type of inner fortitude to say, we're not going to go out. We're not going to not make the playoffs. We're the Kansas City Chiefs. This is who we are. And to pull this one out, I think it just shows you that they have the ability to win big games. It just hasn't happened a lot this year. We're really going to dive in. There's a lot to be critical about. This was a tough victory. I'm not going to let it slide. And there's a lot of people that need to be held accountable for how this team is playing. Granted, they're going to be excited. The fact that they won 23-20, but I still think there's so many people that need to be held accountable. It starts with the top. It starts with the coaching staff. It goes to Patrick Mahomes. It goes to this offense. The offensive coordinator, Matt Nagy. I mean, there's a lot of people that really just kind of need to look in the mirror and figure out what do they want to do this year, because, man, it was tough. But we're going to jump in. Andy Reid did Andy Reid things, ladies and gentlemen. He selected to kick off first, as he always does, and receive the football after half. Now, that was a big-time thing. I honestly, the way the game started, it really felt like the Kansas City Chiefs kind of were in a momentum. And the reason is because the Colts would get the ball. That gave this Arrowhead crowd the opportunity to take it to another level. They were absolutely amped, ladies and gentlemen. And the Colts would go 7 plays for 13 yards. Although they did take 5:27 off the clock, they would punt the ball to the Chiefs. And so it felt like, okay, we got them off the field. It's time for the Kansas City Chiefs to really take advantage of getting them off the field. Let's go ahead and take the lead. That didn't happen. If you blinked, you missed it. I mean, you missed it. The Chiefs on offense ran 2 plays, a 3-yard rush to Kareem Hunt, and then next thing you know, Mahomes, it was an RPO, it was intended for Rashee Rice, and he throws it, and it's tipped. It almost was like right in the hands of Latu, and it would place the Colts at the 6-yard line. Now, the Colts would strike first, and it made sense. They're on the 6-yard line. I honestly thought Jonathan Taylor was going to get another rushing touchdown, but they attempted to give it to him. They drove him back, and then they would find Daniel Jones would throw a 6-yard pass to Michael Pittman Jr., ending a 2-play, 3-yard drive in 43 seconds. That gave the Colts a 7-0 lead. Now, the Chiefs, it felt like they were building momentum. They found the ground game, and I'm going to go ahead and bite my tongue. I'm going to go ahead and say I was 100% wrong. I thought for sure the way this game was going to go, they were going to force Patrick Mahomes to throw, and they did, but they still continuously found a way to hand the ball off to Kareem Hunt, who, again, I'm going to bite my words, rushed for 100 yards. I said the Kansas City Chiefs never run for 100 yards. Maybe it's because I said that, but we'll talk about that for sure. But they continually hand the ball off, and the Chiefs would only manage a field goal. Now, this is going to be my first hypercritical thing of this Kansas City Chiefs offense. They get into the red zone. The play calls are trash. We don't find ways to score touchdowns. Multiple times we were in the 5, definitely in the red zone, and we can't find ways to get into the end zone. It's crazy to me, to the fact that this team can't call plays, can't figure out how to score touchdowns. They just rely on kicking field goals. And it's not just this game. It happens throughout the season. If there's one thing that's going to be a downfall of this Kansas City Chiefs team, is the fact that their red zone offense is garbage. They are absolutely horrendous when it comes to red zone. They can't get in. They can't score touchdowns. But like I said, the Chiefs managed only field goals in the first half. Harrison Butker connected from a 28-yard field goal. He then would also kick a 48-yard field goal and then a 22-yard close to half, with the Chiefs trailing 14-19. That last one, it really felt like if the Chiefs were able to punch it in the end zone, they would get the ball, like we stated, coming out of halftime, and they would have an opportunity to really kind of do some damage. They come out of halftime and are flat. They just are flat. They run 3 plays, it felt like, and nothing happened. I mean, the Colts would add 2 more field goals in the third quarter, a 32-yarder and a 23-yarder that would push the lead to 20-9 heading into the fourth quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, that right there, it felt like the air in the balloon was just deflated. I'm not going to lie. I'm very optimistic. I'm very positive. That's just kind of my demeanor. That's how I am. But that really felt like the Colts found a way. But I shouldn't be like that, because the Kansas City Chiefs, granted, even though the way the year is going, they find a way to dig deep in that bag and they come out and do what they have to do. So the fourth quarter comeback, here we go. Down 11 points, like we said, 20-9. In the fourth, Kansas City mounted a surge. They put together an 11-play, 56-yard drive, culminating a 2-yard rushing touchdown, or a 2-yard rush by Kareem Hunt. And then Mahomes would connect with Rashee Rice for the 2-point conversion, making it 20-17. It felt like, here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. With time winding down, the Chiefs find a way to drive 87 yards on 15 plays. And once again, they get into the red zone and have to force a field goal. Kerr would hit it for 25 yards. As time expired, that would put the game at 20-20, sending this thing to overtime. Now, we know how the overtime rules have changed over the years. And so in overtime, the Colts had the ball first. And it was like, ladies and gentlemen, please don't let them just drive down the field and score a touchdown, because that would really the balloon would be popped at that point, because the Chiefs would be 5-6 on the year, and really just the insurmountable opportunities to make it to the playoffs just would kind of the weight of that would be there. But, they didn't. And I think that's what's crazy. So in overtime, the Colts had the ball first. They were forced into a 3-and-out. In fact, multiple straight 3-and-outs. The Chiefs then drove 81 yards on 12 plays, and Butker delivered the game winner from 27 yards with about 1:57 left in OT. They were even talking about potential tie and the implications of the tie and how that would affect the AFC. It didn't come down to that, thank goodness. And the Chiefs would come out on top 23-20. Now we're going to kind of dive in and talk a little bit about specific players. Patrick Mahomes completed 29 of 46 passes. I was at least right that he was going to have to sling it a ton, and he definitely did that. 29 of 46. For 352 yards and had 1 interception. The 1 interception came on that first drive of the game for the Chiefs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things I'm going to be super critical of with Patrick Mahomes, yes, the offensive line was dealing with some pressure. They sustained some injuries. Trey Smith would not play the entire game. He had to leave because, man, his ankle got rolled up on pretty good. And so they had to put Caliendo in there. It felt like some things were kind of shifting. Mahomes at times it feels like he sees things kind of evolve quicker than they do. And he starts to react because, yes, he's sensing the pressure, he's feeling the offensive line. But there's a lot of times where he has guys open and it's collapsing on him. And so things are happening. He was off today. There was multiple passes where he threw, and it just seemed like he could have set his feet. And the one specifically in my mind is on a play to Travis Kelce. He just airmailed Kelce. Now, did he come up clutch when he needed to? 100%. But one of the other things, too, is the fact that Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown in this game, and they still found a way to win. Now, that's a positive and a negative. Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is the greatest quarterback of this generation. He's phenomenal. But ladies and gentlemen, he needs to start throwing touchdowns. He needs to start throwing touchdowns when it matters. He needs to start throwing touchdowns in the red zone. And so that is absolutely crazy to me that they were able to find a victory. 352 yards. It was his season high in passing yards. In a market that never sleeps, one name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Now, the guy that I truly believe, outside of the defense as a whole, was the MVP was Kareem Hunt. He logged 104 rushing yards, ladies and gentlemen, scored a touchdown, giving the Chiefs a strong ground game spark when they needed it. I think, to me, Kareem Hunt gave you everything he had this game. Kareem Hunt was giving the Chiefs fans just everything that Kareem Hunt had in his body. He literally was fighting for every single yard every time he got that ball. He wants to go to the playoffs. He wants to go to the Super Bowl. He got to taste what it felt like, and they came up short. They lost. Kareem Hunt wants to get back, so he gave you everything he had. Rashee Rice, another one that kind of sustained an injury. It looked like an ankle, or no, it was a hamstring, it looked like. He caught 8 passes for 141 yards and was pivotal on the late fourth quarter drive and the overtime drive. And Harrison Butker went 5 of 5 on field goals in this game. A lot of people, myself included, have been very critical of Harrison Butker this entire year. But he's clutch. When it matters, he went 5 for 5 and would kick the game-winning field goal. Now, this defense, ladies and gentlemen, I think, to me as a whole, they are the most valuable because they held the Colts, specifically Jonathan Taylor, to practically nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs, if not the best running back this year, and they were able to hold him to practically nothing. That just tells you how stout this run defense is, and when they need to step up, they step up. The Colts offense, which had been highly productive this season, was held to just 255 total yards and only 10 first downs in the game. The Chiefs' defense essentially shut them out from producing any first down after the third quarter. I mean, that's phenomenal. That just shows you that when this team needs to, Spags is dialing it up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, one of the things I'm going to be critical of is we still have yet to figure out how to get to the quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, we're facing Daniel Jones. Now, I don't want to discredit their offensive line. The Colts offensive line is phenomenal. They are a great offensive line. They're a great unit, and they've been super successful all season. So it is a tough challenge for this Chiefs defensive front, who has really struggled for most of the year. Chris Jones, although he's not getting sacks, he's applying pressure. He's getting to the backfield and forcing Daniel Jones to do things, throw the ball quicker, get it out, and make mistakes. Although there were no interceptions from him. He almost threw one, but Nick Bolton and I think one of the corners or safeties, I think it was, maybe it was Shamari Connor, they just bounced off both their hands. But outside of that, Daniel Jones had pretty much a clean pocket for most of the time. And I think that, to me, will constantly be a problem because as they continue to get through this season, they're going to have to get to the quarterback. That's going to always be something we talk about in every single video. And I just think that that's going to be, if the Chiefs do eventually have a downfall this year, it's going to be because our defensive front cannot get to the quarterback. Now, I can't be super critical because they held the number one offense in all of the NFL to 255 total yards and 10 first downs. So, Lucas, you got to lighten up a little bit. Now, to kind of wrap this thing up, we're going to talk about the Chiefs and the Colts. So for the Chiefs, the 23-20 come-from-behind win snaps a 2-game losing streak and really boosts morale. It also improves the record to 6-5, which keeps them in the hunt for the playoffs, and the ability to rally from down 11 in the fourth quarter shows they still had the resilience, a trait you want for the playoff contention, something you're really going to need. However, this was their first one-score victory this season, despite many close games earlier. That suggests that they're now finding ways to win the tight ones, which is key for the postseason as well. They remain third in the AFC West behind some of the very strong competitors in, obviously, the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. So while this win is big, they still have work ahead to lock up the playoffs or even get into the playoffs. I mean, they're 6-5. They're still sitting on the outside, looking in. A few games are still going on, obviously, but they still have a long way to go, and they have a quick turnaround, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be playing the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, so that's going to be a quick turnaround. Now, what does this mean for the Colts? The Colts entered the game, or they're now 8-3, showing they've been consistent, but this loss is significant in that their offense, which had been firing on all cylinders, basically stalled down the stretch. The fact that they managed only 10 first downs and were shut out of a first down production after the third quarter is kind of a red flag. Staying explosive won't be enough without finishing drives. They still control their destiny in the AFC South and are a strong playoff shape, but letting a game like this slip away at Arrowhead could hurt seeding and or their momentum. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about are just some observations. The Chiefs' decision-making in the fourth quarter, going for the 2-point conversion right after the Hunt touchdown, showed confidence, and it paid off. The Colts offense, although they built the lead, they couldn't close it out when the Chiefs adjusted. Their conservative second half and failure to convert drives cost them. Special teams, Butker, 5 for 5, ladies and gentlemen. He's clutch, and when it matters, he hit, and they were decisive. The momentum shift, the Chiefs used the momentum from their final drive in regulation to carry into overtime. The Colts couldn't regroup offensively in overtime, and they would come out again victorious. Kansas City Chiefs 23-20. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all the support. It has been absolutely phenomenal. I can't thank you all enough for everything that you've given me and will continue to give me as these videos keep pouring out. The love and the support is just phenomenal. I make sure you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, comment down below what you guys thought of this football game, what you think about coming up, the Cowboys and all the games that are following after that. Let me know down in the comment section. And I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.